Hi, and welcome to KCRep's Thursday Night Mixer. I'm Stuart Carden, the Artistic Director of KCRep, and you are joining us for our 10th Thursday Night Mixer. This is number 10 right here, and we're really thrilled to welcome this week's guests, actor, director. There's a lot of slashes. There's a lot of hyphenates today. So get ready out there. There's actor, director, producer, teaching artist, Katie Gilchrist.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, Katie. And actor, director, teaching artist, house manager, Bradley J. Thomas.
Good evening.
Oh no.
On mine froze for a second.
Oh.
This is starting out well.
I know. Are you there, Brad?
Yeah, I'm here. Am I frozen?
You were frozen just for a second.
Am I frozen? Okay, good. Okay, hi.
Thanks for joining us, Brad. And actor, director, KCAT artistic chair, John Rensenhouse. Hello, John.
Hello, hello, Stuart. So good to be here.
I'm so happy to see you all, and I'm really grateful that you made some time to mix a cocktail and engage in some creative conversation. So for those of you out there that have joined us before, welcome. Those that are joining us for the first time, here's the shape of the evening. We're going to mix a cocktail together. After we mix that cocktail, we're going to engage in some creative conversation about being theater artists in this moment. Then we're going to open things up in the last 20 minutes or so to questions and comments from all of you on Facebook Live. And then we're going to wrap up with a final question to our guests. This week's cocktail kit from our official Thursday Night Mixer sponsor, Lifted Spirits Distillery. They are celebrating, and we all have one here, they're celebrating the release of Barrel Reserve No. 2 Gin, while they're highlighting folks in our community who are pushing boundaries, taking risks, and redefining labels. They have this series that's really cool. This have you all seen this video series that they've been highlighting artists in conjunction with us? And this week's cocktail, the in parentheses west bottom of the barrel, is in honor of Ian Davis from Blip Roasters. And the inspiration of the drink is a combination of his favorite drink, a Manhattan, and his passion, which is coffee. And we're gonna mix, do you all know Ian? Do any of you know Ian?
No.
No, I don't.
Blip Roasters. So we're gonna mix this together, and I think we're all doing it in slightly different ways.
Good luck, everyone.
What's the
I
lead?
have bottle number 684.
I have bottle 746.
692.
693.
Oh,
Right. John, perhaps you can lead us through. What do we do first?
well, we're putting 2 ounces of the Barrel Reserve No. 2 Gin in. And I would like to show that I'm using a slightly larger jigger. You know, our regular jigger is a little larger than an ounce, and this one's a lot larger than an ounce. But, that's just me. You may suit yourself. So 2 ounces of the gin, and then 1 ounce of the Amaro, which is a coffee-infused Amaro. An Amaro is like a bitter, kind of like a Campari. Katie, you may know better than I do.
You're right.
Yeah, okay. It's like a
And it's in there with Angostura bitters as well.
Right.
So Lifted Spirits sells these cocktail kits, and that's what we're mixing right now is this cocktail kit. And this one, the back mixer for this is Blip Coffee infused Verona and bitter. So that's what we're doing. So an ounce of
Katie has chosen to stir.
An ounce of the batch?
Yeah.
And I'm going to shake.
I'll give a shake for good measure, John.
Oh, well, you know, my good friend, Victor Rader Wexler, he believes only in stirring because he feels shaking bruises the gin, and one wouldn't want to bruise one's gin. But I like the little ice shavings that get across the top of the drink if you do.
True.
Some.
You
Yeah.
typically shake when there's citrus.
Oh.
Okay, here I go. Oh, God.
What'd you say, Katie?
I'm pouring it. I'm hoping I don't. Oh.
Okay.
Well, and we're to garnish with orange peel.
It smells really nice. So orange peel. I have a little.
Oh my God, you're official. You're so.
There are a lot of random kitchen tools in our house.
Okay. Orange peel. And do you twist over to get a little essence in? Is that?
Yes. I ran it around the rim of the glass and then twisted it into the bottom.
Beautiful.
It called for a coupe glass. I think Katie's the only one who has the proper coupe glass. I'm using a martini glass.
I'm using a rocks glass that was my grandfather's. And Brad?
I am using a Superman pint glass because I'm fancy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So good to see you.
Oh gosh, I love the orange.
Oh, that's.
Delightful.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
John, I know. For
That's
two
good.
non-coffee drink, this is delicious. This is delicious.
Yeah.
This is so honestly like my winter dream drink. Like this is amazing right now, but like these flavors in the winter in particular, phenomenal. So good. I drink well over a pot of coffee a day. I'm an addict. And then I love gin, but I'm also a big bourbon fan. And this oak aged gin has that in the mix. It's so good. Love it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Ian must be a cool guy to have inspired this drink. Thanks to Ian.
It must be pretty tasty.
Here's to Ian.
Yeah.
Stuart,
Cheers
this
to Ian.
coffee, is it full calf or is it part decaf? Full calf.
I don't know. For your sake, I hope it's
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
that's very nice. Very, very nice.
Smoky.
Really good.
Smoky and good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So friends, thanks for joining us. And I'm excited to check in and hear what you've been up to in this moment. I'm going to frame this really quickly and then throw out a question and see where the conversation goes. I've been feeling this so profoundly. I've been feeling everything profoundly, but I've been feeling this so profoundly this last week. It was already going to be an extraordinary long amount of time for me not being in the rehearsal room. And this just continues to be projected out further and further of that creative, active space where like I feel so at home in myself is in the rehearsal room. And this virus has struck at the heart of what we do and how we do it and why we do it. And I'm feeling really intensely just that ache to be in the rehearsal room right now. And so I'm having to fill that ache with a lot of different things in this moment. Some of the things I want to be doing and need to be doing to fulfill my creative heart, and other things that I don't want to be doing but have to do to navigate this extraordinary moment. So I'm interested in hearing from you all as theater artists and the degree to which you all are also theater producers and makers, how you're engaging creatively, and how this moment where the traditional way we share stories through performing arts in the theater has been disrupted. And so how are you engaging right now creatively?
I'll go.
You go, Katie.
I started making a show because I knew that I'd lost a couple of contracts, and I don't know myself without work, especially without the work that we do, the work that we love to do. Yeah. And so I was trying to navigate those losses and the losses of producing the one-offs that the variety company that I'm with, Bohemian Cult Revival, with working with Black. I mean, there were so many things that we all watched disappear from our lives that I wanted to make a show and find a way to include a collaborative element to it, so that other artists in the community had a platform and a place to work, and we could kind of feel like we're in this together. I give them all places calls. I give them time calls before the show if they're on the show. So that's been really, really helpful. So that's how I've been engaging with my producer brain and my performer brain during this time. It's lovely and weird because it's in a bubble, but it's also nice to be able to share that bubble with other people in the city.
Yeah. So Katie, I'm getting to know in this first year in Kansas City and as artistic director of KCRep, but you are such a incredibly positive, energizing force in this community. It's so clear. And you have a history that goes back to KCRep, back to Guys and Dolls in 2003, and Pippin in 2012, and Carousel in 2013. And I came to know your work on stages around town, and got to know you a little bit during this year. And then immediately, as people began to shelter in place, you did this amazing thing, which was bringing dance parties to people's homes all over the city. And you came, and this was pretty early. What kind of inspired you to immediately say, you know what, this is how I'm going to respond to this moment, is bring spatially distanced dance party and joy to people around the city? What inspired you to go there that quickly?
I missed my mom and my dad, and it came out of a very deep desire to put my actual eyeballs on them. Yeah. And I thought I could roll up and we could be playing the Doobie Brothers, and I could like hang out of the car and put a wig on. And then I went, oh, I could do that for other people too. I could just be silly and get to be silly with other people and not make it just purely about me missing my family. But it is the thing that inspired it. And so I woke my partner up just doing this, like, hi, I'm so sorry. Do you mind, can we go dancing? And he was like, sure, whatever. And we were getting in the car, and Mark said, I don't exactly know what's happening. What are we doing? And then flashed to about 4 or 5 weeks later, and we danced for over 120 people at 75 different locations before it got too hot. So it started from the kernel of me missing my parents.
Yeah, and you took song recommendations.
Everybody got to pick a song.
Yes, you got your own song. It was amazing. It was amazing. And then you just had your 16th performance of this series that you were referencing earlier. That was on Monday nights, which I got to catch some of. I caught many of them, but I got to catch some of, and I'm going to catch a little bit more later. So can you see all of them? Are they all archived through your Facebook?
Yeah, and if anybody sends a request, I can certainly send an unlisted YouTube link so that they have access to it. It's in the 6th week, we started bringing on videos from performers around town. And one of the reasons why we use videos is so that the artists can retain their content in perpetuity. I don't want to own what they make. That way they continue to share what they are in control of. Yeah. And so that's why we do that. And yeah, but they're all out there.
So for that series. And okay, so Brad, you're, I I love this. You, in the bio that you sent me, began performing at the age of 4, which I loved, in Portland. And what was, before we get to what you're engaging creatively, I have to know, what was your first performance at the age of 4 in Portland, Oregon?
I played a rabbit in Button, Who's Got the Button?
Yeah.
And I was the smallest rabbit. And from then, I just started doing things. And actually, I grew up kind of on the lower end of the socioeconomic ladder. And it was a way for me to kind of help provide for my family. And then it just spiraled into, it was the only place I really felt like home was on stage or in front of the camera. And then it just became a life.
And you, if you saw A Christmas Carol this past year or any of the last 7 years, you would have seen Brad in A Christmas Carol, and also was in the ensemble of Carousel, right? So it was before my time, but right? Yes.
Yep.
And then also several readings as part of our Origin KC New Works process as well. But the human, well, no, I want to hear, before we get to the human with the incredible legacy with KCRep, John Rensenhouse. Brad, what are you engaging? How are you engaging right now creatively? And
I've been fortunate to be able to work on a couple of Katie's shows. Been very fortunate with that. I've also been trying to build up some sound equipment to start doing more voiceover work and video work, just to kind of supplement not being able to be on stage.
Do you have yourself a home studio in process?
It's getting there. I have all of the equipment. Now it's just figuring out sound and time and all that stuff in order to make it work.
Yeah.
Is it decorated with superhero stuff, Brad? I kind of have to know.
Huh?
Is it decorated with superhero stuff?
Yes, most of this room is decorated with the superhero stuff. So yeah, there you go. You know me so well, Katie.
I didn't know this about you, Bradley. You're a superhero. Oh, no, I didn't.
Really? All about Pontypool, you never knew?
No. But I did know that Bradley, for me, in my limited experience with the Christmas Carol, Bradley is Mr. Christmas Carol. He is behind the scenes, the social activities behind the scenes. He's organizing everything, making sure it's one big happy group, and we're watching the football games together and having potlucks together, and it's just wonderful. It's great.
Thank you, John.
So John Rensenhouse, who I actually met before I came to KCRep and to Kansas City, because we overlapped on a couple projects at the Repertory Theater of St. Louis, and got to know each other back then. We weren't working on the same projects. You were always upstairs in the big space. I was always downstairs in the small space.
Yeah.
and we got to know each other then. And what a really amazing thing when I came and interviewed to see not only a friendly face, but also something that I admired in that interview.
Yeah.
And so John shared, and I knew your history was quite robust at KCRep, but then what you shared with me, that 49 years ago, summer of 1971, you were an apprentice with the then Missouri Repertory Theater in rotating rep, performing at the old Quonset hut. And you were in, and I don't know either of these plays. I don't know either of these plays. You were in
Borstal Boy.
Borstal Boy by Brent Meehan, an Irish play, brilliant Irish piece. And then Cat Among the Pigeons by Fado.
Yeah.
I don't know that Fado farce either. So and you were 16.
That's right. I didn't really realize the number of years until I sat down to write that little bio for you. But yeah, I was 16 years old, and the theater is no longer there. There's a little marker that says University Playhouse. It's near the Miller Nichols Library. But the rep used to be, a true rep in the summer. They would do gosh, I think 4 to 6 plays. It might have been 6 plays in the summer that they would run in rep. And, you know, I had one line in, I think it was Cat Among the Pigeons. It was "Come along now, down to the station." I was a policeman, and that was my big line. You can imagine how bad that was, a 16-year-old saying that.
16-year-old policeman.
It was so delightful, the whole, you know, the early coterie of artists who were, you know, the company of Kansas City Rep that Dr. McElrath had put together. All the ladies like Robin Humphreys and Harriet Levitt and Ronnie, I can't remember her name right now. I got to play bridge with them backstage because I was a young bridge player. And it just was such a warm, you know, it really made me want to go into the theater, this apprenticeship with the Rep. And it was delightful.
And then you went away for a little while, and then you came back, and what seriously in Kansas City and at KCRep is one of the most talked about productions, even in my short time here.
Oh,
you as Dracula in that production, people can always bring up that production. And so there was a gap, right? You went away, you worked professionally, and then you came back.
Well, I was actually, I was living in New York at the time that I was hired to do Dracula.
I got you.
You know, in New York, and it was just kind of happenstance that I happened to be from Kansas City, but it was a happy coincidence. And yeah, so I came back to play Dracula, and it was such great fun, and it was well, you know, it was the Broadway production with the Edward Gorey sets that Dennis Rosa had directed with Frank Langella, and it was pretty much the same production here in Kansas City. Dennis Rosa was on the faculty at UMKC for many years. And so they had him do his production here, and it was a big success. So
some other highlights include Dangerous Liaisons, Royal Hunt of the Sun, and Gross Indecency at KCRep. And then you were off on tour for The Lion King for several years, and then in King Lear. In 1991. Who did you play?
Well, I've been in King Lear twice. I was in King Lear in 1991. In 1991, George Keithley directed it, and I played Edmund. And then it must have been 2006 or 7, I can't remember, when I came back after the Lion King tour. I played Albany in a production that Peter Altman was the artistic director then.
Both on Spencer Stage?
Both on Spencer Stage, yeah.
So John, how are you engaging creatively right now?
You know, it's a little different for me. Katie, I'm so, okay, it's time for the big reveal. I'm so impressed with Katie and your artistic energy, and a little costume reveal here. Yeah,
nice, John, nice.
He's had t-shirts made of her. That's how big she is, Stuart. It's gorgeous.
Oh
it's really God, good. I love this.
I love that you have
Yeah.
that.
Oh, Katie, I'm a fan. Hey, and Stuart, you may not know that.
I feel bad for not wearing mine.
Oh, do you have one, Bradley? Of course you do.
Yes, of course.
Oh my God. Those shirts raised almost $4,000 for the Kansas City Anti-Violence Project and Black Lives Matter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I just started sweating. I should probably take a drink.
It's the drink. It's the drink. And Stuart, you may not know this, but you have put together in today's meeting the bulk of the cast for the Living Room's production of Pontypool, which we did. How many years ago was that, guys? Like 3, 4?
4?
4, I think.
It was Pontypool is
who's the author? Who's the playwright?
Gosh, it's a movie. I forget.
Canadian movie. Yeah.
It's kind of a cult horror classic about zombies. And
how words become
Cody Wyoming. What?
About how words are a virus, and if you listen, talk about them, you can never take it back. And so that's how ideas get spread, and ideas are the virus.
Yeah, deep stuff. Cody Wyoming, a local musician who's great, he has had a passion to do it for quite some time, and finally it worked out with Rusty and Shauna at the living room to do it, and he directed it, and Mitch Bryan kind of helped with the script, and who else was in it?
Regina.
Yeah, Regina. Oh, Regina got her head
blown off. Yeah.
And
what is this?
Casey got to beat Bradley to death with a fire extinguisher.
Yep.
And yeah.
Then you killed me.
Yes, and then I oh God, I did. That's right.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like some light summer fare.
And it was done in this tiny little space with like 40, 45 seats, and yeah. It was rather legendary and notorious. But anyway, we had a good time. But I want to say, for me, creatively, it's been a little different than Katie and Bradley. Probably a factor of that 49 years ago when I apprenticed with the Rep and my age. For me, it's been a time, it originally was a time when, like, oh my God, I can sit back and breathe and read books and not have to, specifically, I mean, the major project that I missed out on, and I'm very sad to have missed out on, was the Summer Shakespeare Festival, where I was set to play Prospero in The Tempest. Oh. And I'd begun learning the lines and stuff, you know, and preparing for that when the pandemic hit. But then when it came time, like when we would have been in rehearsal and outdoors and the heat was starting to build up, I was like, oh, I don't have to be outside. It's been a kind of a refreshing break for me, but now it's reached a point where it's like you, I'm really itching to get back in a rehearsal room and get back to the work that I love and have done for almost 50 years now. So yeah.
And Heart of America Shakespeare Festival has plans to do The Tempest next year.
Yes. So it's not like a total loss.
With a postponement and not a cancellation, and you'll get to sweat it out, and we'll get to see you sweat it out next summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excited. So are there things that if someone wants to go further with that question, great. If not, I'm also interested in what, particularly in this moment where I feel like I have very specific needs in terms of what I consume creatively, like what I watch and what I listen to, like I have cravings in ways that I haven't experienced before. So I wonder if you all have had similar kind of cravings in this moment and what you're consuming creatively. And whether that's going further into something that you already engaged with, or if that's a brand new impulse to engage a certain style of music, or a genre of books, or engage in other types of creative engagement with others. How has that manifested for you during this moment? And if so, share with us so that we can get turned on to some fun stuff.
Well, I'll go first on this one. Books, as I mentioned, books. Books had slipped out of my life, and I hadn't read a book, and I'd read magazines and stuff, but I started reading novels, and I love it. And I have discovered a writer by the name of James Baldwin, who's a good writer for these times, and I've been very thankful. What a smart guy and a wonderful guy to be reading. So I would encourage everybody to pick up something by James Baldwin and read it.
And Darren, your partner, your husband, he is a really
he's an avid
reader. Like he's a pretty voracious reader.
And I had begun to feel a little illiterate, because he would read 20 books a month, and I'm sitting here with my New Yorker magazine struggling to get through one article. But now I'm back up to speed, and I feel good about
Great.
that.
That's great. How about you, Katie or Brad? What are there things that you're consuming creatively, that you're engaging creatively right now that feels particularly of this moment?
I've been escaping into a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, because we're kind of in a pandemic situation and everything. So a lot of playing Fallout 76, which is a video game that's set in a post-apocalyptic area of Appalachia. Zombie movies, things like that. But also I've been focusing a lot on like true crime and social commentary podcasts and videos on YouTube that kind of speak to what exactly is going on, or what could be going on, not conspiracy theories per se, but what could be going on in situations like unsolved mysteries and things like that, where the situation could be not as we actually perceive it is.
What is that itch for you? What is that doing?
Problem solve. I think
Why
I miss.
Why do you think in this moment, Brad?
How do I get involved? Well, I mean, it's because I can't go out into the world and problem solve. Really, it's kind of the armchair quarterbacking or armchair detective work of trying to figure out, did this person do this, or are they guilty? It's actually quite fascinating.
That's great. I love it. Katie?
I think most often what I've been doing this during the quarantine times, my friends Alex Carter Van Pelt and Justin Carter Van Pelt have been hosting a group called Quarantine Drive-In Live, and then Thursday Thrillers, where groups of us join them for their pre-show. Then we all hit play on a movie at the same time and comment along together, like a grand MST3K kind of situation. It's built this incredible community of very, very funny people. Now we have friends all over the place, which is lovely. But the thing that I've just finished engaging with that I've loved every minute of is Taste the Nation, the series on Hulu with Padma Lakshmi.
Yeah.
It is incredible. It is incredible. It's not just a show about food. It's about how the Republic has assimilated food that belongs to immigrants into our culture. And so it was this wonderful, I read, I think in the New Yorker, that they called it a Trojan horse of a show. You go in thinking that you're going to learn how to make a burrito, and what you get out of it is why you're eating the burrito. I thought it was stunning. It was so great.
That's amazing. I want to check out that series. Like, it's been on my list. Early on, I could not watch anything. Early on, I couldn't watch a series. I couldn't watch a movie. It was something that my wife, Nisa, really went to after our twins went to sleep, just for escape. And I just couldn't go there. I couldn't go there early on. But just the last week and a half, I've switched. And now, in addition, and I've mentioned this before, in addition to taking walks at night and listening to albums from beginning to end, which has been sustenance for me, and a space of both reflection and being transported. It's been in a stress reliever. It's been so many things, these walks. But I've started to click into a couple series. And I mean, if you want just an incredible series, and I'm really can't wait till the next show, the 8th episode to come out is I May Destroy You. Is that right? Is that the right order?
Oh,
I May Destroy
yes.
You. Do you know this piece is on HBO, and the artist she who stars in it, this piece she's co-directing, she's writing, she stars in it, and it is just such an amazing series, because it is dealing with sexual trauma in some ways, and but the way that it's approaching it, there is such shading and surprise in terms of all the characters and their points of view. And there's just a depth of characterization for a TV series that I think is remarkable. And her performance is just insane. Jen, I'm hoping she might text me and tell me if I'm getting the title of that series right. I may destroy, or
I think you're right.
I may
she's on HBO Max, right?
Yeah.
Or really HBO, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, have you all watched Succession? We just started watching Succession, and that is awesome. I mean, it's ballsy and intense, and oh boy, it's on HBO too.
I gotta start that. I just finished Unsolved Mysteries. Now I'm looking for something fluffy.
What did you just finish?
I finished Taste the Nation, and then I finished Unsolved Mysteries. Like Bradley, like maybe my brain will go to work. So now I need something that's complete and utter fluff for like a second, which I know Succession isn't.
No. But I do have the show for you, Katie, and that show is named Floor is Lava. The trashiest thing. It's stupid, but it's just addicting and fun. Floor is Lava.
I've watched a couple episodes of that because I like watching people fall.
I love it when they go down.
So,
on my walks, I have been not quite so highbrow as you. I've been catching up with, because a long time I've been a Murderino, My Favorite Murder. I don't know if you know that podcast, which we love. But I have I've been doing My Dad Wrote a Porno, catching up on that. It's kind of old, but oh my God, it is so hilarious. That's made my walks. I will walk forever listening to My Dad Wrote a Porno. They're great. Do you know it, Katie?
John, I went right before the lockdown. Mark and I drove to Denver to see them.
Oh my God, really?
In a live show, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you have to look this up, My Dad Wrote a Porno, do it.
Okay, I'll look it up. So there's so much going on in the world right now, and it's a remarkable moment of change for all of us, both in terms of the impact of COVID-19 and the virus, and it's rocking us on every level of society, and also rocking us in the theater. And also there's this incredible transformative movement happening in response to the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, and on and on and on. And there's a really righteous reckoning happening across this nation. And all of this is happening at the same time. And so it leads me to this next question, which is, are there things as we get to the other side of COVID-19, specifically that, and in reflection of this social justice movement, are there things that you're gonna leave behind from the pre-COVID and pre-social justice movement moment? Are there things that feel like of this moment that are just singularly about this moment in time? And particularly interesting to me in hearing from you all is, are there things that you've discovered in this moment and in these moments that you're going to carry forward and you're going to incorporate into the new normal, into your lives post this moment? And I know that's a really huge question, and wherever it wants to go, it should go small or big, super specific or abstract. But I wonder if you're feeling things that you're going to leave behind, things that are of this moment, and things that you're going to incorporate into your future, into the new normal. I'll give a quick one, which is, I've just been thinking about this a lot. You know, I'm a theater maker. I agreed when I said yes to taking the job of artistic director at KCRep. I decided to to a lot of my friends and colleagues around the country telling me not to do this, I decided to go to every performance of every show as best I could and introduce myself to the audience. And that was easy when my family wasn't here, right? I was at the theater every night, and then it got harder when my family got here in January. And since this moment of sheltering in place, and because of some family health challenges, we've really been quarantining and sheltering in place. We've had dinner every single night. We love to cook. That was a given. But because my theater evenings got disrupted by this, we've had dinner every single night together, quite often on our front porch. And even when we're back in, even when I'm at the theater in the evenings, I'm going to make it an absolute priority, more nights a week, for us to have that moment together as a family, to reflect on our day, to speak to what we're grateful for, to enjoy a meal together. So that's something on the kind of family front that I'm going to absolutely incorporate into whatever new normal is coming. So how about for you all?
Okay. One thing I want deeply to let go of, something that I think we're all kind of guilty of, but the justification for anything that I do that could hurt someone's feelings in this moment, all of that has to go away, and the ears have to turn on and the mouth has to shut off. I think that that's important, at least to me, to remember those lessons, and also to continue to elevate and use my platform to amplify the voices that have been silenced for far too long. So it's kind of both sides of the same coin. I want to be quiet and I want to get loud for the people that could use some help getting louder, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
That resonates with me for sure, Katie Gilchrist, and you're doing it.
Thank you.
I think for me, something that I know personally has to go away, at least in my mind, as well as is the feeling that when I'm going out for a role or when I'm going out for a show, the feeling that, okay, this character's white and I'm going in for it knowing that I'm not suitable for it, when that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the feeling of having to justify to myself why I should be in the room.
Yeah.
And it should be the feeling of I'm here because I have talent and the drive and the will to want to be in this room and to want to be in this show.
How has that, Brad, for you, what's the turning point for you in that? Like, where are you in that process of changing that mindset for yourself? And what has allowed you to
I think the accepting of myself,
yeah,
I guess, for, coming up in theater, coming up performing as someone of color, but someone who isn't really of color, has been difficult to kind of wind my way through the different pitfalls of theatrical careers.
Yeah.
And finally, around about 2 or 3 years ago, I finally just realized that I need to be myself, for one, and true to who I am and what I can do. And and during this pandemic, watching the civil unrest happen, watching my brown and black brothers and sisters and my white allies struggle so much to find justice and equality across the board, gay, straights, black, whites, all creeds, all nations, the equalness of everyone needs to be equal. And in theater most of all, because this is a melting pot. This is a beautiful microcosm and a biological sphere of what the world is on every stage throughout this country, throughout this world. And it should look like the world.
That's beautifully said.
Well, speaking of theater as a place where, you know, we should be leading this, you know, my involvement with Kansas City Actors Theater has had kind of a profound effect on me during this time, because I've always been someone who, you know, thinks of myself as, you know, not prejudiced, not racist, liberal, whatever. But discovering that, oh, in my actions, I'm not always, you know, that's not the way it turned out. And it's the true with Kansas City Actors Theater. We have always said, oh, we need to include more people. We need more diversity. And we've always found some sort of reason, excuse, I don't know, whatever, that it hasn't happened. But the thing about now that I'm taking away from now is that it's time to stop, you know, just thinking and giving good lip service to it. It's time to start really doing and making the change. And as Kansas City Actors Theaters move forward, we put out an initiative of, you know, our commitment to social equality. And just last week we added Walter Coppage, Nedra Dixon, and Shauna Pena Downing to our board and committees. And we're doing it now. We're doing it, and it's kind of, you know, it's really exciting to, because it's a new thing to really get out of the old mindset. Well, we can't do it because this and this and this. To say, no, we're doing it. We're just doing it. So that's my new mindset going forward.
Yeah, and catalyzing the energy of this movement across the nation feels so exciting and necessary and long overdue. But it's been remarkable the degree to which people, including myself, are open to deeper evaluation, self-evaluation, and organizational evaluation of the legacy of historic white supremacy in our organizations, and developing a nuanced conversation about this, and not a binary one. And the thing that I'm gonna take, one of the many things I'm gonna take forward from the social justice movement is just that the degree to which that the transformation needed is one that takes both immediate action and change, and also sustained and long-term and deep thinking and conversation for sustainable change. One of my colleagues shared today something from Surge that was talking about seventh generation thinking, and thinking about the decisions you're making now and their impact 7 generations from now. And it was a really powerful sentiment that I feel like has moved me to think about not only being new to this community, not only the short-term immediate impact and change, but also to think about 7 generations from now with organizations like KCRep. Who are they going to be to this community, and how can they really fully reflect the multiplicity of voices and perspectives 7 generations from now? And that there's something that it feels really exciting and daunting simultaneously about those two things. There's a couple questions that come in. We were supposed to start the Q&A 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
Oh no.
Alt, as director of time. It's as your cruise ship captain. It is my fault. So a few questions have come in. I also want to say, like, this cocktail is very good. Just have to say that.
Yeah.
It's very delicious.
It's making me glow. I feel an inner glow.
Damn it, John, come on.
debating on making another one.
You're wearing well. So here's some questions that have come in.
You know, I want to say, before you get to the first question, I want to say, Stuart, that I think the Rep has been a pretty good, I mean, as a leader for our community, I think the Rep has done a pretty good job in the recent past years of inclusion and doing all that. So, you know.
Well, John, I
think the Rep on that, I think.
Yeah, and we can do a whole different session on this, but I think in terms of I really admire KCRep's work in the last few years in terms of representation and reflecting this community on stage. And the next, and this was very much, and John, you were in on some of my conversations when I was interviewing, you know, one of the next steps for this organization is behind the desk.
Right.
And not just on our stages, but also our creative team, our design teams, our full-time staff, reflective of this community and always. And that's the work that, and the exciting work of bringing multiple perspectives to bear on the way we make theater and the voices that are helping define what stories we're sharing. That is the crucial next step. And KCRep, I do think, you know, I've just been here since September, but I do think in terms of representation on stage among theaters our size, to a degree has been a leader in that reflection. But the next step is beyond that.
I would also like to say thank you to KCRep and having a very diverse house staff.
Yes.
That has always been something, kind of a benchmark for a house staff. I mean, old, young, all different ethnicities, all different genders. It's actually a wonderful thing to see anytime I walk into a KCRep show or doing a KCRep show, to see how diverse that house staff is.
Yeah, that is really meaningful, Brad. Yeah, that's really meaningful because it makes all the difference, right? When folks walk in the door, to see, quite often the house staff is who people identify with the theater besides the actors, right? And to see yourself reflected in that group of house staff is meaningful in terms of the welcome to the house. So yeah. Okay, a couple questions. We're gonna get a couple in. So Ronnie Wollman is the actor's name who John was trying to remember.
Thank you. Yes, I knew it was Wall. Sorry.
What is another one for John? A quick one, John. Dream role, John. Would you like to play that you haven't been able to play yet? And I'm going to ask that question of Katie and Brad as well.
Oh,
Prospero.
No, I you know, the dream role that I had never got to play was Tom in Glass Menagerie. Too old for that now, unless it's a really serious memory play. So.
Or it is, what's the term for this? Ian McKellen's about to play Hamlet, right?
He is, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, in a non, how is it being?
Non-Asian, that was some of the verbiage, but yeah, I mean, he's about to.
How they're describing it, but Ian McKellen's about to play Hamlet. So we want to see your Tom.
All right, Tom in Glass Menagerie. That's my role.
Brad?
Valjean in Les Mis. I did a concert version of it about 12 years ago, but now I'm the right age and obviously the right gray hair to play him.
Sometime let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Katie?
Oh, Beatrice in Much Ado, but also the MC in Cabaret.
Oh.
Yes.
You haven't played it?
Huh?
You haven't played the MC?
No. I've never done that show.
I would love to see you as Beatrice. You'd be a fantastic Beatrice.
I would love to do that play. I love that play.
Jen Spa helped us out. Hamlet is an age-blind interpretation. That's the language.
Age-blind, that's what it is.
Age-blind interpretation. That will be fascinating, especially if they really go intergenerational with it. It will be really fascinating.
Yeah.
So this is a big question, but I think we can, in 3 minutes, jump on this.
We can do it.
In regard to the current state of the world, the nation, what stories are you excited to tell in the future? I have to say, thinking about programming, sorry, super quick for me. I think thinking about programming, my impulse is to both go very directly at what's happening in this moment and works that speak really, really directly to it, not obliquely, directly to the moment, and to go escapist, like that mix and nothing in between, like imaginative journeys that transport and take you away from everything. I want to go on those rides and journeys as an audience member. And then another part of me wants to go headlong into this moment and in really powerful and meaningful ways. So those aren't specific projects, but those are my impulses in terms of what I'm craving from theater right now. Katie, you were going to jump in.
Yeah, I am very interested in telling more immigrant stories and more indigenous stories because of my bloodline, my ancestors. That's what is really pulling on my creative heartstrings right now. Stories about the people that have been here as long as the land that we are literally sitting on, and the people that chose to come here. So those are the stories I'm interested in seeing and telling.
Do you have anything on this, Brad or John?
I'm really interested in taking like classic works like Antigone, Medea, Faust, things like that, and juxtaposing them into the current situation, into not necessarily modernizing them, but bringing to light what their what their stance was in their time versus what the stance would be now, given the climate of change that we are being swept up in.
And I miss the theater so much. I want to tell stories that can only be told in the theater.
Yeah,
that are just so inherently theatrical. That's what I want to look for, because for me, I miss it. And I know you're going to ask what we're going to do after this. I'm a subscriber.
Perfect segue. So because we have 1 minute left.
Subscriber to 4 theaters.
Let's see if we can do it in a minute. What are you going to eat, drink, and experience on the other side of this? John, go.
I'm going to go see plays at the 4 theaters that I subscribe to, and I'm going to eat the mashed potatoes at the new theater while I watch a play, because I love those mashed potatoes. And that's what I'm going to do.
The mashed potatoes.
No, they're great. Oh my God. Have you been? Yeah.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Potatoes.
Eat, drink, and experience. Katie Gilchrist.
What I deeply want to do is drink throat coat, eat almost stale bread, and be in a rehearsal room.
Those are your prep things for rehearsal.
Yeah, those things that are there. Like I want a cup with my last name on it, and I want to have, oh God, I left the sandwich here yesterday, and I want to be called like we're back. That's what I want. Yeah.
Brad.
I want to have avocado fries from the Phoenix Jazz Club. I want to have a beer at Kauffman Stadium. And I want to hug my friends because I miss them.
Yes.
I've jotted down a few of those, including I got the Phoenix Jazz Club. I'm excited to go. I love avocado fries. Excited to have them there. Brad, let's go together.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for all three of you and for making time in a moment where we're all incredibly busy and caught up in so many complexities, to take some time to have some conversation and connect with one another, and to find a bit of joy and positivity and dream up the future. I'm really glad to get to know one of you all, each and every one of you all, more deeply through this conversation. Cheers to you all. Want to thank before we go off. Cheers. Cheers.
Oh. Cheers. And I want to congratulate Katie Gilchrist on being the first person in the history of Thursday Night Mixers to mix a second drink. Yes.
Am I the first?
No, you're not. I always do it off camera, so don't.
Oh, okay. I've never seen anybody do it, but
I was about to just shame spiral my way off the screen. So
you did it so discreetly.
And I want to thank one more time. They're awesome that they're supporting us doing this and delivering these cocktail kits. Amanda on KCRep's staff who delivered these, and thank you to Lifted Spirits for sponsoring this series. I appreciate them, and thank you, friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stuart.
Bye.